How's it going, everyone? It's your host, and today I'm gonna be tackling what I consider to be a pretty interesting topic to cover. In case you didn't read the title, I'll be ranking the members of the Akatsuki by intelligence. Now this kinda goes to question, well, what do you mean by intelligence? The Oxford Dictionary defines intelligence as the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skill. So that's what I'm gonna be using as a basis for this video. Now these ain't Dragon Ball characters, so you actually can rank them by intelligence. I'm just gonna say that there's no cut and dry way to rank these guys in terms of intellect, since ranking Naruto characters by intelligence is not easy. And none of these guys is like a total dumbass or anything. They wouldn't have been recruited into the organization then, but there is a clear hierarchy between them. I also want to say that I'll be placing these guys in tiers that give a rough idea of how smart they are, and entries that share a tier are of the same caliber when it comes to smarts, with maybe one character having the edge in feats or something. Before you begin, I just ask that you subscribe to my channel. I noticed the majority of you guys aren't subscribed, and that it really mean a lot to me and really help the channel out if we can push that subscriber count to that 1k. Number 10. Now at the lowest tier, I got one person, and that's Hidan. Now Hidan would have actually been one of the worst villains to go up against if he wasn't such a dumbass, and his defeat is fully attributed to his intelligence or his lack thereof. He's able to catch Asuma with his curse, but his complete lack of discretion helps Shikamaru decipher his entire ritual process. And once his jutsu secret was unraveled, he wasn't able to do much and had to rely on Kakuzu to help him. Kakuzu even berates Hidan and calls him out for his stupidity, showing how much he lacked respect for his partner. And once Shikamaru formulated a plan to eliminate Hidan, he fell for it and did pretty much exactly what Shikamaru wanted him to do. And he even helped Team 10 and Kakashi out by taking out one of Kakuzu's hearts, thinking the blood that he ingested was Shikamaru's. Even when he thinks he's figured out the time restriction and the range of Shikamaru's shadow possession, that was just Shikamaru tricking him. He does figure out that he's been set up, but by that time it was too little too late. Now entering the next tier, we have Kisame at number 9. Now let me start this off by stating that Kisame is not dumb or anything, but he doesn't really have that many intelligence feats. He's more of a powerhouse that's eager to face his opponent with brute force. In terms of intel, he knows quite a lot due to being Tobi's disciple. He might even know about the infinite Tsukuyomi, but being paired up with Itachi would make anyone look dumb. Kisame is still given some high priority assignments, such as infiltrating the hidden cloud after his battle with the Eight Tails, and with a parasitic white Zetsu clone that can mimic a person's chakra signal, he was able to fool the Raikage and his guards. He's also able to analyze B's movements pretty well when they fought, and was able to use the Samihara to turn the tide of the battle to his side. Even after he killed himself, he still managed to deliver the intel he gathered by booby-trapping the scroll, though I think this is as high as I can rank him. I mean, he was recruited by Obito himself and couldn't tell that him and Tobi were the same person, and usually got put in place by Itachi. I definitely don't think he's dumb, it's just that the other members are that much smarter. At number 8, I have Datera. In terms of skills, he's pretty talented, being able to use all the C-Clay Bomb variants. The C4 especially is a very powerful technique. He's able to create nano-sized clay bombs that destroy anyone that breathes them from the inside out. He was able to turn Gaara's home advantage against him, using the sand as collateral, and he even tricked Gaara when he crushed his hand and capitalized off of that opportunity by implanting some of his detonating clay in Gaara's gourd sand. He was also able to use Naruto's rage to lure him away from his allies until Kakashi joins him, and even after he loses his other arm and gets outnumbered, he makes a quick getaway with a clay doppelganger. Datera was actually personally sought out by the Akatsuki for his talents, and seeing how he was easily able to deal with the three tails, you can see why. But like with all the other entries, he's this low cause the other members are that much smarter. Datera also trained his left eye to counter genjutsu, but Sasuke still managed to catch him lacking. He was able to put Sasuke in a position where the plot had to save him, but he couldn't do so without killing himself. More often than not, it seems like his pride and narcissism usually hinder his character, and he's kind of viewed as a kid by the other members. Toby actually spends early Shippuden trolling Datera, and Datera is not able to figure out his superior role in the Akatsuki. And it almost seems like Obito was doing the act to mess with just Datera, since he was the only member still alive that didn't know about the masked Madara. Now this is when we start getting to the really high IQ members. Number 7 I have Conan. Now Conan was always portrayed as more intelligent than not, since she's not necessarily a physical tank or a hacked fighter like the others. Even as a child, her brightness is complemented by Jiraiya, as she was able to fully understand the intrusion detection system that Jiraiya implemented without him having to explain it to her, unlike Yahiko and Nagato. Fast forward to the Akatsuki days and she's one of the more senior members. She knows about Madara Uchiha, the Infinite Tsukuyomi, and the Sage of the Six Paths. She was also able to rule the Hidden Rain after Nagato's sacrifice. And that's not it. When Toby comes to the Hidden Rain seeking the Rinnegan, Conan is able to damage him not once, but twice, and push him to use the Izanagi. She mixes in paper bombs in her regular paper to detonate them when he absorbs them into Kamui, and she was also able to figure out his jutsu's time constraints, that he could slip through attacks for only 5 minutes, and that him absorbing himself into Kamui takes longer than usual. And the only way Obito made it out alive is through the Izanagi, an ability that literally allows him to rewrite reality in itself. Considering that KCM2 Naruto couldn't even damage Obito without Kakashi teleporting all his attacks, I figured she'd scale above Datera, but unfortunately she doesn't have enough feats to rank much higher. At number 6 we have Kakuzu. Don't let the fact that he's only at number 6 give you the wrong idea. Kakuzu's actually really intelligent, and he arguably has more battle experience than anyone in the Akatsuki, being a veteran of 91 years, and has had encounters with numerous legendary ninja, such as the Gold and Silver brothers and the first Hokage. Even when Shikamaru restrained both him and Hidan, Kakuzu was able to outsmart Shikamaru and freed himself by hiding one of his hearts in the ground. He was able to use the Earth Grudge Sphere to extend his life and store 4 additional hearts, which gave him mastery over all 5 changes in chakra nature, with which he can use multiple large-scale elemental jutsu. He's also portrayed to have book smarts, seen as how he was trusted with gathering funds for the Akatsuki as the organization's treasurer. He's also able to navigate both him and Hidan through the 5 great nations without being traced, and he's able to detect the hawk that Ino used to track the duo down. Now I don't know if I can really rank him any higher, since he didn't know that much about what was truly going on in the Akatsuki, and the fact that Naruto managed to outsmart him twice, with 3 shadow clones, which is significantly lower than the amount that Naruto usually generates. At number 5 we got Sorcery of the Red Sand. I don't think that Sorcery eclipses Kakuzu or Conan in terms of intelligence, but I do believe that he has a slight edge. Sorcery is described as a pioneer and genius, the master craftsman of the puppeteering brigade of the Sand, as he's designed multiple combat puppets which were still in use even years after his departure. He was also able to find a way to invent human puppets which somehow retain the abilities of the person the puppet is made out of, and has managed to turn himself into an immortal human puppet that doesn't age. He's got an ability which allows him to use 100 puppets all at once, all of which have hidden mechanisms and poison-laced blades. His poison was so strong that his own grandmother couldn't develop an antidote for it, even though she was able to counter Hanzo's poison in the past. Sorcery is also a master of espionage and has a network of spies working for him through a jutsu he developed that allows him to mind control people. With that, he was able to infiltrate the sand pretty easily with the help of one of his sleeper agents. He also had a spy planted within Orochimaru's organization, though it's worth mentioning that Orochimaru did catch on to this and he freed Kabuto from Sasori's control. He was also able to kidnap the third Kazekage without raising suspicion from anyone in the sand. And even in his fight, he wasn't portrayed to have been outsmarted to the same extent as Datera, Hidan, or Kakuzu, except for maybe when Sakura managed to destroy his third Kazekage puppet. Number 4, we have Pain, or Nagato. Nagato ranks this high mostly due to all the abilities or jutsu he has access to, and the fact that he served as the leader figure before the masked man revealed his identity. Nagato can control 6 bodies in perfect sync at once, and can even process each path's individual perception simultaneously, which is incredible processing power for one human brain, and coordinate attacks. He has a jutsu that can create a chakra clone that requires a human sacrifice and a percentage of the original's chakra, which was used on Itachi and Kisame. He also created the booby trap tags that were able to manifest clones of Team Guy to keep them from helping Team Kakashi. Pain also developed a jutsu that allows him to invoke his chakra into the clouds and can use the resulting rain from those clouds to sense everyone and everything in the hidden rain. He also managed to swiftly win the civil war in the rain and keep the village's affairs private, fooling all of the outsiders into thinking that the rain was still at war. When Jiraiya trapped all 3 paths in a genjutsu, Pain intentionally waited for him to let his guard down to attack him. When Pain invaded the leaf, he let the animal path infiltrate the barrier alone so that the barrier would detect only one intruder, since the animal path can summon the other paths. And in general, it was portrayed that Naruto needed all the help he could get just to defeat Pain, and only maybe outsmarted him when he let the Preta path absorb the natural energy, which Pain didn't even know about Sage energy. He does get manipulated by Obito, but Obito does so by playing on his emotions, which is not really indicative of his intellect. Now this is when we get to the pure genius characters. Number 3, Itachi Uchiha. Itachi was described as a genius and a prodigy compared to the likes of the 4th Hokage, and one of his strongest aspects is his intellect. Even when he was just a child, he was described to possess the temperament of a Hokage, and that was stated by the 3rd Hokage himself, and that he studied everything from Kekkei Genkai to Sage Mode, which is how he was able to recognize Kabuto's Sage Mode almost instantly. He was so ahead of his peers that he took the Chunin exam on his own, as opposed to the others that took it as part of a 3-man squad at only 10 years old. He was also able to figure out that the masked man was behind the Kyuubi attack, which no one else was able to figure out except for the 4th Hokage, who actually fought the masked man, and was able to see through his genjutsu even before he awakened his Sharingan. He was skilled enough in espionage to work as a double agent for both the Uchiha and the Leaf, and was Anbu captain at just 12, the same age Naruto and Sasuke graduated from the academy. He's also managed to fool Sasuke and pretty much everyone in the Leaf into thinking he's a bad guy, covering the details of the Uchiha clan massacre, and he had 2 contingency plans in case Sasuke defected or learned the truth about him. The first being the Amaterasu that would activate in response to Tobi's Sharingan, and the second being Shisui's eye that he implanted in Naruto. Even when he's revived, he's able to figure out a counter to the Renegon's shared field of vision and formulate a plan to counter Nagato's Chibaku Tensei on the fly. He's usually a couple of steps ahead of most of the fighters he faces, seeing as how he was able to outsmart Kage level opponents with little difficulty, like Orochimaru or Datera. Even against Kabuto, he was able to come up with a strategy to deal with the handicap that he couldn't kill or seal Kabuto, as the reanimation jutsu wouldn't be undone almost immediately, and almost every time we see Itachi take any damage is just him setting up the Izanagi. The reason I didn't rank him higher is because he was playing a game of mental chess with Obito for the majority of the series, and he ultimately couldn't stop him from recruiting Sasuke or attacking the Leaf. Number 2, Obito Uchiha. Now there's a lot of people that underrate Obito's intellect and assume that he's dumb for whatever reason, but he's actually a genius and shouldn't be underestimated. First off, he's able to trick everyone in the world pretty much into thinking that he's Madara Uchiha. Even as a child, he's able to use the wood style without having prior experience with it. Meanwhile, Danzo couldn't even control Hashirama's cells as an old-ass man. He's able to go through the village barrier undetected and kidnap and extract the 9 tails from its Jinchuriki and control it with his Genjutsu. He then faces and low-key scares the 4th Hokage, who's got years of experience on him. This Obito utilizes chains with his Kamui so that he could phase through his opponent, entangle them with the chains, and suck them into his dimension, which is really smart and probably would have worked on anyone that can't teleport. He's also a master manipulator, as he's able to influence some of the Uchiha into pushing for the coup, according to the novels, and he's also able to control the 4th Mizukage for years without anyone knowing about it. He was also able to get Nagato and Sasuke to do some of his bidding for him, as he's been taught by Madara how to use the darkness in people's heart to manipulate them. He's also demonstrated a wide array of knowledge, being able to identify Danzo's bodyguard's clan origins with ease. He knew about Mito Uzumaki's ability to sense negative energy. He knew about the reincarnates of the sage's son. He's actually the only one to know the truth about Itachi, and was able to checkmate Itachi from the grave by recruiting his younger brother into the organization and sending Pain to Konoha. He also has a lab where he keeps multiple Sharingan and Hashirama cells, so he's gotta have good medical knowledge to an extent. And like Pain, he's able to manipulate 6 bodies at the same time, except it's crazier because it's 6 Jinchuriki. Even when Madara was revived, Obito had him at his mercy since Madara was an Edo, and his one shortcoming is failing to account for Black Zetsu. He was able to tell that Madara had placed a seal on his heart, and after he got Kakashi to get rid of it, he successfully became the 10 Tails Jinchuriki, and was capable of utilizing the Jubi to its full extent. So yeah, he's pretty damn intelligent. People like to downplay him by mentioning how he was manipulated by Madara, but Obito was always wary of Madara and didn't trust him. He just didn't know that Madara caused the Rin incident, and he was basically the main guy running the show from behind the scenes, so it'd make sense that he'd be up this high. And number 1 would have to be Zetsu. Black Zetsu was at the top of the chain of command and essentially played everyone, and was arguably the most knowledgeable character. Now there's a lot of people that don't like Black Zetsu and how he was used to shaft Madara out of the story, but the first time I watched the series, I always believed that Zetsu had to have a bigger role than just the Akatsuki's bookie. In terms of intellect, like it or not, Zetsu is possibly the most intelligent character. That's mostly due to what he is essentially. You see, Zetsu has been alive for thousands of years, since Kaguya was sealed from the Sage of the Six Paths, and he's apparently the root cause for the conflict between Indra and Ashura and their reincarnates. He's also managed to tamper with the Uchiha stone tablet and alter Hagoromo's message, in turn manipulating the entire clan, causing them to eventually lead themselves into a clan-wide massacre. Zetsu also has the ability to record all that it witnesses, and he has been recording all of shinobi history since the days of the Sage of the Six Paths. He's basically like the living memory bank of the world. To add on top of that, he worked as a spy for the Akatsuki and kept tabs on everyone in the world. You can actually make an argument that Black Zetsu was the best sensory ninja in the world, as he's able to sense anyone at any distance in the world, like how he sensed Naruto and B, or how he was able to locate Danzo. He was lurking in every corner, gathering as much intel as he could. He was able to fool the 5 Kage and steal their chakra with some clones. He also knew everything there is about Itachi's weapons somehow, and was able to figure out that Itachi was ill from before the battle. He's also able to manipulate Madara, and in turn Obito, Kabuto, Nagato, and most of the Akatsuki. He's not sorcery, but he was the real puppet master all along. Though, to think that all of the effort Zetsu went through to revive Kaguya just so that she could get sealed a couple of minutes after. Anyways, that's all I got for today. If I were to add Orochimaru to the ranking, then I'd place him at number 5, number 4. All I know is that he'd be below the first 3 placements, since he gets schooled by Itachi pretty often. As for Takasasuke, then maybe number 8. Takasasuke wasn't the smartest Sasuke we got. I originally had White Zetsu ranking as the lowest entry below Hidan, but since he works in sync with his black half, I figured there's no need to separate the two. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and go check out my other videos. A lot of them are about the Akatsuki. That being said, have a great day and peace out.